Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. We're making grilled veal rolls with pine nuts and raisins. Now, I don't have a grill for outside. I know a lot of you will probably want this recipe during the summer, so I know you can save it till then. But I'm going to be doing it in a pan. That's the only way I can do it. Well, I'm thinking about how I'm going to do it. But anyway, I'm going to make this recipe one way or another. Now, they say they need 2 pounds of veal scallopini, and they want it in 12 3x5 inch slices, and they want it pounded to 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch. It usually comes 1/8 or 1/4 inch thick, and you have to pound it. That's what I'm doing right now. We're pounding it. And the only way you can pound them is they say to put it between 2 pieces of wax paper, but I know wax paper tears. So I am using saran wrap, and I am on my last one. Okay? And when you pound and come off this direction. So when you hit and come like this, you're spreading it and thinning it out till it hits 1/16 of an inch. So let me finish this and I'll be back. Okay, in a small bowl, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of golden raisins, and you're going to soak them in tepid water for 15 minutes. In another small bowl, you're going to get 18 bay leaves, and you're going to soak them in tepid water, 18 of them. And after 15 minutes, drain the raisins, but leave the bay leaves in their tepid water because they said not to move them yet. So we're sort of stuck there. All right, you're going to need one tomato diced up. Well, I thought I bought enough tomatoes and I didn't, but I did have small cherry tomatoes, so I took a whole bunch of them to add it up to 1 tomato. Just dice it up. Tomatoes are tomatoes in my book. So that's where I'm at this point. And I'm making breadcrumbs right now. I've already made, we need 2 cups of breadcrumbs, and I've just about got that. I've got the last of the bread in the oven, and I will be blending it up. One woman got very angry with me, and she pretty much told me off that she wasn't going to give me money to learn how to do her breadcrumbs easier. Now, this happened over 6 months ago. If you take a look, I have given out a lot of information, a whole heck of a lot. I have shared recipes, I've given you nutritional information, and everything else. And there was no need for her to get so upset when I said, you can, what is $1.99, or I think it's $2.99, I'm not sure, to get the recipe. It didn't kill her. But she got angry. She said, I will go somewhere else. So she insulted me and proceeded to leave. If I ask and put some recipes for members only who join, not subscribe, she should not be upset. If she wants the information bad enough, she will go and get the information because it is right there. But right now, we have to have a small onion. This is the smallest onion I have. And they want it finely chopped, which we do all the time, so you should know how to do that. I haven't insulted anybody on this channel of mine. If you insult me, I will come back at you and remind you. Sometimes I can't deal with it. I just don't want to deal with it. But there's no reason for anybody to be rude like that or anything else. And I know a lot of people are on YouTube doing things trying to become influencers. I think that's proper. not to influence, but to share something that you like. The things I like are more female things, you know, not things that men would like, but it should be, I think YouTube should be more educational. I think that's important. To educate, to help. See, when I grew up, women knew their place and everything else. We didn't have a problem. But there's somebody always like Jane Fonda who thinks that she can do everything that a man can do. I know I can't, okay? I'm limited. I know I can pick up 40, well not now. This last year seems to give me a problem picking up 40 pounds, but I can pick up 39. Like my sons sit there and say, I said, I'm upset I can't pick up 40 pounds. They said, well, how much can you pick up now without it hurting? I said, I could pick up 39. He said, oh, wow. They said, oh, wow, Mommy. You're complaining about 1 pound? I said, well, you know, I like to carry my weight and stuff, but that's me. But I try to always be respectful to everybody. I don't like it when people come at me. You don't have a real good, legitimate reason. People disagree. I understand that. And right now, I know people are hurting because the government's in shutdown and the Democrats aren't going to open it. And there's a good chance they might keep it closed all the way until after the midterm elections. And if that happens, that is going to be a lot of problems, and it's going to be hurting a lot of people. We have a lot of socialists that are in the Democratic Party. Socialist or communism. People who, they say we have a democracy. In my country, we do not have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. And because we have a constitutional republic, we, the people, take responsibilities. We don't need the government to help us. We're supposed to do it ourselves. We take responsibility for our actions and everything else. But I keep on hearing everybody say, we have a democracy. No, we do not have a democracy. We never have. Democracy means the government controls more. I don't like the government controlling. I like being more independent. So, therefore, I'm more prone to saying we know we're in a constitutional republic, which gives me my rights to be. And Congress and senators and stuff did not get paid until 1913. They decided they would get a paycheck. But up to that point, they got money if they did. This is history we're talking about. I'm not, you know, being political to anybody, just talking. And in 1913, they decided they wanted a paycheck because they couldn't trust the American people were going to give them money. So by doing that, it's like having a business and they get to decide what everybody's going to pay them, if you like it or not. So they can do what they want and they know their paycheck's still coming. Now, if the congressmen aren't being paid or anything, I would be happy, but I want you to know, while the government's in shutdown, they're getting paid. So they can go out and sit out for as long as they want. And you, the American people, well, I should say we, the American people, are going to suffer for it. But they will make sure it is set up in the law that they get their money. But before they did this, they had to depend upon the American people to give them money for the job well done or done badly. Believe you me, they would not be doing what they're doing. They would be in there working because they need that paycheck. See? The people had control. But now the people are losing it and everybody's trying to tell me that we've got a democracy. And I said, we don't have a democracy. We keep on having We have a constitutional republic. Please get it straight. It's just like if you get pregnant out of wedlock and you want an abortion, you had to pay for it. The government doesn't pay for it. It's your problem. You got yourself pregnant, so therefore you take care of the problem or either have the child. It's the same thing with people who want to change their sex. They want the government to flip the bill. No, 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 no. You want to change your sex. You pay for it. Get a job, save your money up, go get the surgery if that's what you want. That's what it is. A constitutional republic says if you want something, you work for it. You see? That's all. Because if you ask taxpayers, do you want my tax dollars to go for this? I'm sure a lot of them would say, no, I don't want to pay for an abortion. I don't want to pay for that and everything else. And another thing they used to do is it treason? They hung you or they shot you publicly. They let everybody know treason. So if a soldier had done something or somebody in the office and did treason against the country, they got shot. Just as simple as that. Criminals, they weren't hidden behind the prison walls and hung and stuff. It was public, and children and people saw it, so they knew that if you broke the law, you were going to be hanged. And this was, you could call it shock therapy, but that's what it was. Shock therapy to make sure that you are an upright citizen. When you do it behind closed doors and things like that, and the government's paying for these things and you don't know where your money's going that you give to the government and all, this is it. So if the government wanted money to go to war, they had to come to the American people and say, buy savings bonds. When you know, if you see the old commercials, buy saving bonds. When you bought savings bonds, that supported the war and World War II. You see? It wasn't just a bank where they could go and say, look, we want $1 billion here, we want $1 million over here. No, they had to come to the people, and the people gave them the money. And this is how it worked. We have lost the rights, and we are no longer in control of our government. And this is a bad thing, because the government is telling us that our tax dollars are going here, we can go and spend money over here and everywhere else. And the American people have to say, no, you answer to us. So therefore, they should take away the IRS for taxes and stuff. And if these congressmen and people want their money, then they're going to have to prove that they've earned it and out of our good graces. Like if they don't repair the streets today, well, tough, nothing you can do. Before, if you wanted your street repaired, they had to come to you, and when they gave you the money, you better do what they said, because if they don't, you're going to be out of office and you could be in trouble. I need to put 2 tablespoons of oil in a frying pan. I'm still thinking of how I can grill this or bake it or something. I'm working on it. Because I know a grill is basically like an oven, except that you don't set it in a pan. So I'm wondering if I take a rack and set it over a pan to catch the drippings, could I use it like, I told you I play in the kitchen. Yay! Well, we're going to see. I have to wait for my breadcrumbs. I'm really coming to the point. We need 1 onion. We're going to need 2 eggs. We need pine nuts and salt and pepper. Let me see what else we need. Oh, we're going to need very thinly sliced, so prestata grande. All right, which is a form of salami. And we're going to need, they say 8 very thin slices. I've got more than 8 here, so I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of these little cutlets. And I don't have pecorino cheese, but they said I can use Parmesan cheese in place of it, which I do have. If the store doesn't have what I want, I have to go and find something else to fit it. So I got Parmesan cheese. Salt and pepper, I've got to get salt for this. So I gave you a beautiful, simple explanation of a constitution. These are things I was taught. So I share it with the young people because you're not being taught this kind of history, and this was our history. And this is what we did learn in school. All right, you need 2 tablespoons in a medium frying pan. And we're going to saute this onion. I don't think I have to saute anything else. Let me see what else I have to put in this thing. Okay. We're going to saute these this onion for until it's translucent. Saute, they call it sweating today. I hate that term, so I'm going to use the old terms that I know it by. My grandmother used to say pre-cook. That's what she used to say. So I've learned all the terminologies. That's what's beautiful, is when you talk with the old people. I learned so much from listening to the old people. We had a nursing home just outside of town. And one of the founding mothers of Veal, which was really interesting, she was in the nursing home. And she was in a wheelchair. She was about 98. I was a teenager then, so you know she's gone by now. What she did at that nursing home. They had to keep an eye on her because she was good at picking locks. I wonder what she did when she was a young lady. Anyway, she used to pick the back door lock of the nursing home because she couldn't get through the front because the nurse's station was there. So she sat there and I caught her one time. Man, she almost had the door open. We see her in her little wheelchair and she'd be leaning over real quiet and she'd look like this and she's just going to town. Whatever she could find, she could pick a lock. She was really, really good. Many a day the sheriff would have to come and bring her back. They'd see her down the highway wheeling her wheelchair. And the sheriff or some people would pick her up and bring her back to the nursing home. She was notorious for it. They used to tie her to her wheelchair and she still managed to get out. She was notorious, and she was 98 years old. God bless that little lady. She had spunk, and I'm sure she could fire a gun too. I remember catching her. I went to a nurse's station. I said, there's somebody in a wheelchair. She said, as soon as I said that, is she back at it again? And they told me she's been doing this. And on her birthday, they'd have to tie her into the bed. Because she would say, I'm going out. And they had to hold her down. And she was strong for 98 years. It took 2, what did they call them? My brother was one. Orderlies, 2 men, to hold her down, to get her into the wheelchair and tie her down. And they had to tie her down in the bed because she would try to sneak out in the middle of the night. And she was accustomed to her own way. She was going to get it one way or another. Everybody had to keep an eye out for her. She was one of the founding mothers of the town. And I remember as a little girl standing on the back of the front door of our church, St. Philip's, that I could look across the highway because it was 1 block from the highway, and I saw this woman, and she was dressed just like Little House on the Prairie, and she went out there, and she had her farm there, and she would go through the yard and all. Her husband had passed. I never saw him, so he must have passed early. And she walked everywhere, and like I said, my grandmother had a bonnet. So I had some good times in the fact that I learned so much from the old people. Because they have a history, they really, really do. Now, I hope this afternoon, for those of you that are watching this later today, if it comes up in time, I think I'm going to be making some very unusual muffins if I have time this afternoon. I hope to send that out. But I never know. going to saute those onions. Put that like that and leave that. Let's see if I can get you over here. So I know a lot of the older people who watch this channel pretty much know what I'm doing. And I'm sure they have memories just like I do, because we're old enough to go back enough. Because my grandparents were born in 1880, 1870, something like that. Let's see, I was pushing. Yeah, 1870s. And she tells the stories of how she met my grandfather, and they met on a wagon trail. A wagon train. Well, if you want to call it, I call it a trail. And that's where they met. They were going across country to find land and make a homestead. And she had like 15 brothers and sisters, and he had 18, so they came from a really large family. But they didn't, when they fell in love, and they met each other on the trail, they didn't go the rest of the way to California. They just sat there and said no. They branched off, you know. They would leave the wagon trail, and that's where they would set their homes. Well, my grandmother, like she said, I'm not a racist, Sandy. Okay, this is my grandmother. She would help Indians that were married to Indians, Mexicans married to Mexicans, blacks married to blacks, whites to whites. But as soon as you crossed that line and had an interracial marriage, she became a racist. That was her philosophy. But that's where she grew up at that time, you know, so what can I say? I couldn't doubt her for it. I had an uncle that got caught. He was on his horse. Yeah, horse. And he had his guns and all. He got caught. He was trying to get home. He got caught in a hurricane. Picked his little butt and the horses up. And when he finally got thrown somewhere, the only thing he had was his gun belt and his boots on. Everything else was off his body, and his horse was gone. And I remember that. These were stories they told me of their families. Like my grandmother, people called my grandfather A.B. That's what his family called him, A.B. and everything. So they were married for a long time. Marriage certificate had A.B. and all. And one day she said, A.B., what does those initials stand for? And he sat there and said, well, what do you think it stands for? She said, I think it's Aubrey B. And he said, you guessed right. When he died, his birth certificate had Alexander Benjamin on it. She never knew his name. Never knew his name. But she called him A.B. Let it turn this way down before they run wide is what happens next. Okay, They say to add another 2 tablespoons of oil and 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Yeah, I need more breadcrumbs. That's why I'm making them. I guess they want me to toast this some, they don't say. This is going to be part of the stuffing. We want this mixed and toasted nicely, so it's only going to be 1 or 2 minutes, and that's it. You know, when you're young, you want to fit in with the in crowd and stuff. But you're better off being yourself and true to yourself. This is for the young people. Don't try to follow everybody else. Don't try to be with the in crowd, because the in crowd, they don't think for themselves. They have to think jointly. They are not independent in thought. A lot of our inventors and stuff did not run with the in crowd. They were independent. Because the school tries to mold you. Everybody's alike, but we aren't. Being Americans, we're highly independent, and they try to take that independence away from us by controlling us. When you control the people and you oppress them, that's when you have revolutions. Okay, we're going to turn this off and move it over here. And I will be back. I have to get a mat to put it on because they want it off the burner. We'll brown those nicely. Oh, so now you put it on. Okay. We're going to be putting stuff in this. I'm not sure of everything yet. Okay, they want the raisins added in. Pine nuts. They want 1/3 of a cup of pine nuts. 1/3, if you didn't hear me. When these are toasted, they have such a nice, mild vanilla smell. Isn't that interesting? Alright. going back on over on the stove. I have to do some chopping. All right, the soppressata, they want cut into small pieces. And when they want them thin, that's how thin they wanted them cut. I told the guy, you have to cut them extremely thin. When he says, how thin? I said, it says very thin. And you need, what, 8 slices? Yes, 8 slices. I know, you want me to use the meat one, but I have the meat sitting on it, so I'm not going to be able to do that. You know what? All right, for whoever's thinking it, yes, you could run this through the grinder if you wish. A meat grinder, yeah, you could, I guess, if you want to pull it all out for that. Okay, we go over there. Let me get the mat back over here. Get back to what we're doing. Please don't tell me I have more to chop. Tomatoes. All right, they want 1 tomato. Well, I didn't have 1 tomato, but I had a lot of little ones. So that pretty much adds up what I need. And what do you want? You want some salt? Don't worry, we'll be putting cheese in this in a bit too. They don't tell you how much salt, so have fun. Now you notice I did not use my salt mixture because I don't want any fish flavor with this, just in case it shows up. Sometimes when I think it might show up, that's when I will use regular iodized sea salt. But 99% of the time I'm definitely going to use my mixture. Get to the cheese in a bit. I can't find the cheese I need, but they said I can use Parmigiano in place of it. Well, I'm all over the cheese department. I can't even find St. Andre's, which I love St. Andre's. Oh, that is so good with a salad and French bread. And definitely have it with red wine. Now we need a 1/2 cup of Parmigiano cheese, and I need a small knife so I can get this opened. They want a 1/2 cup. They say any firm cheese would actually go good with this. So if you don't want to use Parmesan, use what you have. Yeah, I didn't think you were quite enough, but now we have to mix this up, and that's it for the stuffing. Let me check my breadcrumbs. I hope that gives me what I need. Now when I make my breadcrumbs, I use whatever bread I have. I don't care what kind it is, sourdough, whatever. All what I do is dry it out. So my breadcrumbs always have different flavors in them. I even use my whole grain, my French, my rolls. What I do is thin slice them, put them in an oven at 300 and dry them out. And then what you have to do is grater them. And you have beautiful breadcrumbs. It smells nice. I think it needs a little more salt though. We also had a government teacher in high school. He gave us our government book. This is what seniors learned about how our government worked. And we walked into the classroom. He said, all right, in 6 weeks, I want you to do chapters 1 through so-and-so, and you're going to be tested on it. That's how he taught us. I mean, I did not like his class, and he was the only government teacher, and if I could just get away from him, I would have been so happy. You know, there's just some teachers you just don't like to be next to. Well, he was one that was definitely on my list of, I really don't want him. He loved my brother, because my brother was smart. My brother was capable of, he was practically an A student. I was everything but. All right, now what do you want me to do? Want toothpicks? Okay. So we're going to need a platter to put these on. Okie dokie. I'm sorry, I've got to move stuff around to make room here. I'm going to have to wipe that up. You want toothpicks? I don't know how many. I'm just pulling toothpicks out. size spoon do you want? You didn't tell me. Let me see, they don't tell me. All right, what do you want? All right, they want a heaping tablespoon. I pounded this as much as I can. I'm going to pull you down. That's what they want. Well, they're coming out on the side. Anyway, we got that one done. They want us to continue this. They're even telling you they want them 5 by something, but I can't do that. Mine did not, Butcher did not give me sizes like that. So I'm gonna have to make do with what I have. But at least I can try. So I am going to continue doing this. And I will see you when I am done. Okay, I got mine rolled. Now, grilling outside is no different than cooking inside, all right, really, because it is pretty much the same thing. Now, they're talking about the temperature they want is a medium hot, which you're going to set for your grill. Well, these are oven temperatures. Medium hot is known better in the house with an oven temperature is called moderate hot. So we're talking 400 degrees. Just as simple as that. So that's what we know they want the temperature of the oven at, is at 400 degrees. So we have to watch these very carefully. All right, now we need a medium-sized onion, and they want us to quarter it. All right, so now you know what the oven temperature has to be to match up to what's done outside on the grill, which is 400. They want us to quarter this onion. Okay. I'll turn the oven on in a bit, don't worry. them separated. Okay. Cut both ends off. Easier separated. Well, if you don't want to separate, I'll just peel you off one. Want them separated too? Okay, we're going to separate them too. So it'll be similar, but we're going to be doing it in the oven. Okay. Do you have onions that sometimes don't want to separate? They give you a heck of a time. Oh. Oh God, these onions are hot. Do 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 do. Sometimes you get an onion that does not want to let go of its skin. Maybe I should just go from the inside out. I am not. Okay, now, you want me to have what? Skewers? Wooden ones? What do you want? All right. You want a bay leaf first? I would have done the up. Okay. All these bay leaves that have been soaking. You're going to take a bay leaf. It's this one. You're going to skewer it. You're going to skewer an onion. And I want you to skewer okay, now I've had to get the second skewer in here. I might not be doing this right, but that's okay. I'm going to learn. Okay. Okay, we got that. You want them 1/2 inch apart, it's not gonna work. With me, it's not. What do you want me to do next? Well, I'm gonna run out of bay leaves doing it your way. I am definitely going to be running out of, I don't know if this is going to make 6. Hold on a minute, I got to check this. I have to check to see how many bay leaves I'm going to get when I do this. Okay. Okay. If you think I'm going to take this toothpick out, you have another thing coming. I'm not removing that toothpick because I know what I'll end up with. A mess. Okay, let's put this here. I don't need this right now. And you want me to breadcrumb this after I do all this? I'll brush them and do them differently than the way you want. You want me to roll these in eggs and stuff? I'm trying to count this out. They want me to breadcrumb these, and then put an egg. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, let me see. Right. Now I'm questioning it. I know I shouldn't. They want me to rub. If I do that. Okay, well, we'll try your way. If it doesn't work and breadcrumbs are everywhere, it's your fault, not mine. See, I know if I skewer these things with the breadcrumbs, I'm going to take the breadcrumbs off. But that's what they want me to do, and I say, how am I going to do that without making a mess? Why couldn't you just brush them and sprinkle them on? You want to make my life complicated. I'll try one their way, but I don't know. You want breadcrumbs? I got plenty of breadcrumbs now. This is where I question recipes. I try to think of an easier way to do these things than the way they want it done, because I don't grill. A little more than I wanted, but I made them. Now with this toothpick, you want me to roll this in the breadcrumbs and put them on skewers without making a mess. That's going to be cute. Okay. We'll try this way. If it works, I'll sit there and do it. Right now I'm trying to work on the skewers. God. I know you watch me do all these things and you're sitting there saying, she argues with her recipes. Yes, I do. I found following recipes blindly has really left me very confused because a lot of people don't know how to write these recipes out properly. And the new cookbooks, because a lot of people are not chefs and they are writing these cookbooks, they're making it difficult for people. Though they love the pictures, they love to make it, but they can't because they don't understand. And that's a very, very bad situation. So I go through all of this. Don't stab yourself, Sandra. Okay. Put another onion. Bay leaf onion. Bay leaf. I don't remember. Okay. Yeah, I knew I was going to take the breadcrumbs off while I do this. Okay, now we got one done. I'm leaving the toothpick in to make sure they don't unravel any more than what they have done. I'm already running out of bay leaves. This was not enough. Okay, maybe I should put 3 on each of these. Okay, I will pull these off and we will do this and see if it works. I might put 3 on each for us. My family's a big eater. Yeah, you're just hearing me think about how to feed my family this. Okay. We will go through this, put an onion, put a second one on. I'm really thinking about putting 3 on. Okay, we'll take this onion and this bay leaf. Take this and come through here. Put an onion between them. Okay. This is not going to cover it. Okay. I'm going to have to get another onion. So 2 here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's there. We'll come here. Put an onion. Put the second one there. Put an onion. Ow. And a bay leaf, and this is not working. They say only put 2 on each skewer. That's not going to work. We're going to have to put more. We'll put you this way. I'm actually putting them on a rack over the boiler, so it's, you know, the flames will come around, but they won't be directly under the bottom. So they tell you to put a thing underneath it anyway. So once you know your temperatures for grilling outside, you can convert them into the oven. You just have to set up like a grill. 3, 6, 7. I might not even have enough breadcrumbs for this, which is going to be cute. And I'm going to need another onion. They are definitely going to give me a problem here. Here's one. Can I get this one off? Okay. Yeah, we might need another onion. Okay. See, my husband did all the grilling outside. That wasn't my job. Every time we grilled, he did it. I didn't. I'd be inside doing the other stuff. So I couldn't tell you how it's done or not done. Oh yeah, the bay leaves are going. This was not enough. 2 more, huh? I knew this wasn't gonna work. I put, all right, let's see if we put 2, 2, and one will have 3. See, if I cut these the way they wanted to, I would end up losing. Okay. So if I put 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, yeah, I'm gonna put 3 on each one. One's gonna have 4. This is gonna be tight. Well, that's okay. It's nothing new in my world. Yeah, I'll just put an onion bay leaf at the end of this one because I already got it there. Okay. Gotta do more onions. Well, I'm going to continue doing this, and I will be back as I get this together. Okay, as you can see, I've got them on a rack right here over the bottom part of my broiler, so any drippings will go down there. Now the only thing they want you to do is to sprinkle some olive oil over them. Now, we're going to be using the same temperature the grill's going to be doing. The only thing is that they're not on an open grill with the pan further down. We have the pan closer, but it's the same thing that's happening. So this should be fine. Now they state that they can't tell you how long to cook these because everybody's grill is slightly different, temperature wise and all, but they're saying anywhere from one side for 10 minutes and then turn it over for another 10 minutes. But we're not sure about that, so I'm not going to say exact. And like they say, gas grills and electric grills, temperature's going to be slightly off, and then there's a problem. Okay, so you're going to cook it till it's done to your taste. I'm going to check them at a certain time, and if they're not ready at that time, I'll leave them in a little longer. You do have to turn them at the halfway point, whatever your halfway point is, but you don't put them in the oven until it gets up to 400. If you're grilling, it's they call it a moderate, I think. They call it a medium hot for a grill outside, but inside is called a moderate hot, which is 400 degrees. I told you if you could learn these degrees, you'd be able to read the old cookbooks. And because a lot of young people can't read them, they're like, this is a mystery here. I can't understand any of this. So it's very important that you understand this stuff. Women used to pass this down to their children, but since women have gone into the workforce, they don't have this time, so they're always looking for instant foods and stuff to help them out. And these women, these young girls are growing up ill-equipped to being a woman, okay? So when my oven hits 400, I will be putting mine in and cook them, and I will show you when they're done. Okay, here they are. I did it. Difficult, annoying, but I did it. It just takes a little bit of time, and sometimes you can get frustrated over it. I baked them a little longer because they're in the oven and they're not outside on the grill till it was done to my point of doneness. You have your point cook it to that point and they'll be fine. So take care. Bye-bye.